Well, hey, it's time to get into another classic. JP and the Beans 5. On today's top 5, we are counting down the top 5 sidekicks in all of comics. Now, here's the thing. I don't think either of us realized when we embraced this idea until we started doing the research, there aren't actually that many sidekicks to choose from.
No, I got really creative.
Thank goodness you did.
I got really, really creative.
I'm certain I got less creative than you.
Because there was a legit point earlier in the day where I'm like, I'm just going to do all 5 Robins.
It's tempting. It's really tempting.
Look, if you have 2 on there, I'm not going to be mad at you. Because
I know.
There's a lot of good options. I can promise you I only have 1. I only have 1 Robin. Spoilies, I only have 1 Robin.
Yeah, same, but it would be so easy to have more than 1. Like one Robin that I don't have on my list, or most of them I don't, just the one. And it's going to be the same one for both of us, I know. It just is.
Well, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it is. But Carrie Kelly in the alternate universe take on Batman, where she becomes Robin after Batman is retired and then come back out of retirement, she's a tremendous Robin. Just absolutely outstanding, both in her physical skill and ability and in the emotional support and significance she lends to Bruce Wayne. She's an absolute dynamo. So it's really hard to keep her off the list. But I did want variety where it wasn't overwhelmed by Robins. So anyway, top 5. Number 5, Riley, you go first.
Okay, this is where we get really creative. At number 5, I have Jarvis.
Wow.
I have Iron Man's AI, Jarvis. Because he was always there for our guy, in the AI. He's always helping out. He's a great person to just have listened to, And on top of that, talk about character progression for Jarvis. He went from an AI in a suit to vision.
That's pretty damn good.
So
pretty good come up for our guy Jarvis.
I have Jarvis at 5.
That's really great. Great pull at number 5. My number 5 is my guy Wong. No last name, just Wong. Yeah. I'm gonna be really honest. Part of this is just for the name. His name just cracks me up every time. I love calling him Wong Dong for no good reason other than there needs to be more than just Wong. In the Doctor Strange movies, he's a phenomenal companion to Doctor Strange. Grounds him, protects him, does all sorts of helpful things. Really levels off the arrogance of this particular version of Stephen Strange. In the comics, he's allowed to flex a lot less, which I think is a bummer. So I really like how the movies have given Wong more both to do and the goods with which to do it. So my number 5, Wong Dong. My number 4, this is where I get a little creative. My number 4 is Wally West. So Wally was sidekick of sorts.
Kid
Flash. And part of what makes Wally such an outstanding sidekick is that I think what a good protege does is they follow their mentor well enough that when it's their time to take on the mantle, that not only are they prepared to take the mantle, but they are able to leave the jersey in a better place, so to speak. They're able to take what was given and yet improve on it. I think it's safe to say that Wally did that when he was able to be full adult Flash.
Wally was and is arguably a better Flash than Barry ever was. Mm-hmm. Even to likability.
Yep.
That says a lot.
Yeah. Wally's incredible. If he's not the top Flash, that's a hill a lot of people would die on. So Wally West.
I'd probably die on it.
Yeah, that's my number 4. Who do you got?
Number 4 for me, just because he's turned into an icon next to Marvel. I got Bucky at 4.
Okay. Yep.
The dude, now, in the movies, he's a little bit more of like a partner.
Mm.
In the comics, though, he's definitely a sidekick. Yep. But I think it really, I love the Winter Soldier comic because it really builds on how important Bucky was, not just to Captain America, but to the war effort. Because he was like, Bucky was the guy that was going to go sneak in there, do a bunch of secret spy stuff, go in, go out, stealthy.
Genuine covert operations.
Correct. And nobody saw it coming because he's this youth kid that's next to Captain America.
Right.
So
right.
I'm going to go with Bucky at 4.
Great pick. Great pick at number 4. Love that. You're number 3, sir.
At number 3. Again, we get a little creative. Okay. And I believe she was a little bit of a sidekick in the X-Men trilogy. Okay. I'm going with Kitty Pryde to Wolverine.
Ooh. Nice.
Because Wolverine kind of becomes this father figure mentor to Kitty. And I think they're dynamic together, whether it be comics or the movies. Because I'm pretty sure in the movies,
there's good dynamic between them and
they have that same dynamic. Yes. So for me, I gotta go Kitty Pryde at 3.
Great. I love that number 3. That's great. And like we talked about prior to recording, the X-Men are just tough, like to classify in this kind of sidekick realm because there's always this team dynamic, so that there's not an official necessarily pairing that goes on, but I think there's within that still a lot of opportunities to go, you fit the sidekick mode. Like I almost picked Nightcrawler.
Right.
And couldn't quite talk myself into it, but I wanted to.
See, and this one was tough for me too, because I was like, there's got to be a couple of X-Men in there. And this is more of like a mentor-mentee relationship, almost a father-daughter relationship. But I feel like, I feel like she's sidekicking with Wolverine. Like, she goes to help him out and make sure he stays out of trouble, just like he wants to protect her. So,
Yeah, no, that's great. My number 3 is not a superhero, just an average Joe of sorts. An average Foggy, if you will. Foghorn Foggy Nelson, old friend, best friend of Matt Murdock, law partner. Matt Murdock as Daredevil needs Foggy Nelson. Needs him because Matt can lean a little too heavily at times into the devil side of the Daredevil persona. And he needs Foggy to help bring him back, get him centered, and get his vision. Sorry, Matt, but I couldn't avoid it. Get his vision back on track of why Matt Murdock is Daredevil. It's not just so that he can beat the bejesus out of the bad guys. It's to protect others. It's to serve others within Hell's Kitchen. And he keeps Matt, when I say grounded, he keeps him involved in the law practice, right? Which is a big part of what keeps Matt from going over to over the darkness of the Daredevil persona.
Oh, for sure. If he didn't have Foggy, I think he would.
Yeah.
I think he would have crossed the line a lot of times. Because even with him, he did. So,
imagine without. No doubt. My number 2, Bucky Barnes. Love Bucky. Love him. Part of what makes Bucky so highly ranked in my particular set of rankings is that, good grief, when you have our guy Bucky upgrade, it is truly incredible that he goes from sidekick to dead to back to life, and then, I'm sorry, you are Captain America? Like, when Cap goes down, Bucky steps in. I think that's absolutely phenomenal, and his character progression, just an absolute joy and delight to see the redemption arc for Bucky. You mentioned the Winter Soldier storyline is tremendous, and when Steve Rogers unfortunately passes, Bucky taking on that mantle begrudgingly, and yet he finds a way to make it his own, is absolutely tremendous. So for me, Bucky Barnes, he is my number 2.
I promise I listened.
Well done.
Yeah.
so Bucky Barnes. We've covered those or tread through these waters.
So my number 2?
Your number 2?
My number 2.
Hit it.
I got Wally West. I got Wally West. And to be honest, like, I think, I grew up with Wally West as the Flash, but I think what really sold me on him as a sidekick, and I brought this show up many of times, Young Justice. He is like, his character in Young Justice is phenomenal because, yes, you talked about him being like the perfect heir to the mantle of the Flash.
Right.
in the show, he struggles with the fact that he doesn't think he can ever live up to Barry because Barry has just set the standard, and because of that, he holds himself back.
Yeah.
And so it's a very cool dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if cool, more human dynamic for that.
Yeah.
And so I gotta have Wally at 2. Also, I just love him. He's such a good guy.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
And then we obviously have the same number 1.
It's Dick freaking Grayson.
It's Dick Grayson.
Yeah,
it's Dick Grayson in here.
A clear number 1.
When you think of Sidekick, who do you think? You think of Robin. Who was that Robin?
Who was the best Robin?
Who was the most iconic Robin?
Right. Not even just the first, but just the best.
Dick Grayson.
And I think that's part of what sets him apart at number 1 is that there is a list of competitors, right? There are sequels that have come after the original, and none of which have touched the level of the original. So there's competition, in other words, and yet he has just turned the competition away. It's incredible.
Well, it's incredible when each other Robin is trying to fill the shoes of Dick.
They can't do it.
Not even Damian freaking Wayne, the son of Batman.
Can't do it.
Couldn't fill his shoes.
Can't do it.
Couldn't do it.
And then just to show off, just to flex, when Batman temporarily, I can't even really say dies, like disappears, gets sent back through time, who steps into the Batman mantle just to let Gotham know that Batman is around and to keep chaos at bay if villains believe that Batman or realize that Batman was gone? Grayson. And he crushes it.
On top of that, not because he wanted to.
Yes.
He didn't want to be Batman. He wanted to be far from it. He loved being Nightwing, but you know what? He's like, I don't have a choice. Because if they think Batman's dead, Gotham's dead.
Yes.
Gotham is soon to follow.
Yep.
And he's like, well, darn it all.
What a sacrifice.
Give me the suit.
Hero. What a freaking hero.
Give me the suit, Alfred.
Incredible. Like, who else? What other sidekick has embodied 3 personas extraordinarily well? He's a phenomenal Robin. He's a phenomenal Batman. And he's phenomenal as Nightwing. That's incredible. That's incredible. Greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Grayson.
Grayson.
Yeah.
Number 1. Easy peasy.
It is. It really is. It's a phenomenal top 5, Riles. Well done.
Absolutely.
There's your top 5 sidekicks of all time. You're welcome.